Amazing run that he's had through this event. Up until the fourth round, hadn't dropped a heat yet this year, Matt Wilkinson, but he's going to have to turn around some pretty poor history surfing against Geordie Smith. He hasn't beaten him in a heat, non-elimination or man-on-man ever before. But we are going to look back on Wilco's run through this contest. And you have spoken about during the event, Barton, just surfers exploring different lines. Matt's backhand is so explosive out of the lip. It is a different line for Bells.
It's perfect, and particularly it's all set up with that bottom turn, isn't it? You see the wide stance, and that hand goes down to grab the rail, and he's always so authoritative off the bottom that just allows him to do more out of the top. And you see him there with his coach, and you know, there's that bottom turn we're talking about. See the width of that stance. It's really strong, really powerful, Ross.
It is, and something else that's really unique, BL, with Wilco surfing maybe than any other guy on tours, he seems like he's bent in half. You know, he's really low to his board, but then when he goes to those big tail whips, his body is literally folded in half. It's pretty unique looking, but it allows him to kind of kick that tail out, and now he's got that move just under wraps.
That was it just there, exactly what you were talking about. Just beautiful. Look at the waves we've had. What an event for surf.
One of the heats that has kind of really defined Matt Wilkinson's performance throughout 2016 so far came against Julian Wilson in round 5, and it was in some of the cleaner conditions that we had for the contest. Really strong offshore wind though, and hard to get your fins free above the lip in these conditions. He fought back in a big way against Julian.
Yeah, he really did. I believe that every event, and you can speak to this, kind of has a turning point where things are just kind of going your way. They actually tied in that heat, but Wilco got the nod.
And he got it on that last wave, didn't he? You know, and he needed a 9.57. You'd be sitting out there going, well, what are my chances of that? You know, it's a massive score, and he got it, and he did it again, you know, today. So he's definitely got the mojo going with him, and there he is feeling it, you know.
Yeah, I think it's really saying a lot about just how inspired Matt is to collect the big result here. Some of that emotion that he's had on display. Another impressive fact is, of course, Wilco on a magic board up there at Snapper, but hasn't really looked out of sorts when he's changed to his step up either.
Well, that's what I was feeling. He's gone to this 6-3. The first heat, we saw him go to do a cutback on one and the rail slip and a wobble in that, and he didn't look quite settled on the board. In that next, in the semi, as we see, he looked perfect on that board. So, you know when you get on a board, Ross, and you're starting to build momentum with the board as you become familiar with it, I get that kind of a feeling around Wilco.
You know what's funny about Wilco too is, you know, that's a bit of a carve there, but he totally proved me wrong today. I thought he was going to have a hard time today because he couldn't rely on that big backhand tail release, but he's still going for it. Like, it doesn't even matter if the waves triple overhead, somehow he's still getting that tail out of the water.
Amazing to see, and Matt Wilkinson's going to have a little bit of an advantage just in that extra 30-minute rest that he had surfing in the first semi. What's that going to mean on a day like today? And Barton also remembering that Geordie's had to surf an extra heat already.
Well, that's if it was me, on that day when they were talking whether to run it or not, I would have pushed to have my heat so that we're on equal pegging. I wouldn't have wanted to do a whole nother heat out there today and it, you know, exhaust all of that energy. So I think that there's a distinct advantage in that, and I think from a point of view of pressure, Geordie's got more on him. Wilco's just won an event. He's in his second final in a row. He's under no pressure. He's on cloud 9 about this situation. He's in win, lose or draw, you would imagine, going into the final. Obviously you want to win it.